and she's watching Janine Muir like a hawk. At any moment she could go. They're both staying fairly low on the track at this stage. Watching. Alright, now we're coming up to 1 lap to go. The bell's rung. And they're still watching each other. Janine Muir's underneath, and she's off. Janine Vavasseur chasing. Oh, she's stuck on that wheel, and they're off. Oh, Janine Vavasseur's coming around the outside, and she's taken the lead around the final corner. But Janine Muir's not letting it go easily, and Janine Vavasseur's taken. David's slowly pushing Pat up towards the fence. Watching him very carefully, keeping him on his hip. Pace is slowing right down at this point, and they're watching each other. Oh, David's taken a bit of a jump. And he's off. Can Pat get back on? He's chasing hard. Just coming back round for the bell lap, Pat Doherty's coaching. And they're getting close, and Pat's starting to catch on. Dave's giving it an extra burst, but Pat's sticking to him like glue. Coming into the final corner, and Pat Doherty's coming up around the outside. It's going to be a big sprint for the line. They're going flat out, absolutely. Dave Thomas, separation of around 6/10 of a second between the two, which in this game is significant. However, it's all down to the race. So they're watching each other very closely. Penny's taking the front position, and they're pushing up high onto the bank on the first corner. Penny's watching very closely, and she's holding Jennifer up high. This is the psychological part of this type of racing, where you're really not sure what your opponent's about to do next. So this is what makes it tricky. So we're now at the point with 1.5 laps to go. They're still sitting up high on the bank. I think what we're currently seeing here is the purest form of the race, where it's all going to come down to that final sprint. Okay, so we're into the final lap, and Penny's following Jennifer, and Jennifer's taken off. Penny's working very hard to try and get back onto her wheel. But Jennifer's looking a little too strong at this point. Coming into the final straight, Jennifer looks like overall she's just too strong, so taken away by Jennifer. So this should form some very exciting racing.
Yeah, that was the last one. There's only 2 events, there's not a sprint here. In the sprint.
Looks like we've got Gavin riding off the front at this point. We'll see if John can get back on. He has around 1.5 laps to go. But we're seeing Gavin well in the lead at this point. So Gavin's coming into the final lap. Gavin has certainly got a significant lead at this point. So I think, without preempting things too much, that Gavin is likely to take this out. And they're both watching each other very, very closely.
Just on the, yeah, exactly. That's what she said.
Emily's pushing things up a little higher on the track to cut off any possible jumps.
At 7 a.m. in the morning, and she finished at 3:30.
David, watching intently, sitting up higher on the track and looking for the advantage that can be had from coming down and the speed that adds to your jump. Speeding up a little bit here, David's still saying hi. So with 1 lap to go, Emily's taken off. She's got a fabulous jump and she's really going for it. David is going to have to close that gap, however, he's closing it and he's coming along fast. Emily though is holding him on her hip just at the moment and they're both pushing for the line. Emily, David's taken. And as they start to cross the line, Carl is throwing lots of fake moves to try and upset James's potential jump. James is sitting very high up on the bank, keeping a very close eye on Carl, and Carl likewise is watching Jamie. Speed is staying medium high, and lots of faking. So coming through the third quarter, we're almost into the final lap, and they're both away. 1 lap to go and it's turned into a full-on sprint. Jamie's really shot through the front, and he's holding about 3 lengths on Carl, but he can't afford to give up now. Carl's working very hard to keep up with Jamie.
There he comes.
And they're both coming to the line. Carl's steaming round, and Jamie stuck on Jamie, and Jamie holds them on their flying twos.
Yeah, it should be.
At this point, they're moving quite quickly,
There's a rubbish collection.
with Nicholas Cockrell on the bottom, holding
Well, that's why you're here.
Aaron Christensen up towards the fence to stop him taking too much of a jump.
Bike race, rubbish collection.
So now we're coming up for the final lap, and the bell goes. They're still both high on the fence, and a jump could happen at any moment. And they're away.
He's ridden well, that young fella.
Around 0.7 of a second separating these two. However, I don't think that's going to be indicative of the sort of racing we're going to see today. Tactics are already taking a big role here, with Nick Mack pinning Ian up to the fence. Things are slowing down.
Yeah, well, I've got a cousin up there, so I get free accommodation, so it's not too bad. And he's a climber, and he actually climbed with his partner.
But they're locked together at this point, just waiting to see who will make the first move, sitting on each other's hip.
He works at the bike shop at Right. He's an ex-Northcote rider.
They're very, very close up onto the fence at this point, with Nick Mark just on the lower side.
Yeah, very. It's like his son's big
Both of them still waiting for that jump. So with 1 lap to go, I think we're seeing Nick make a jump and Ian heading onto his wheel. Ian's sitting on his wheel and Nick is going as hard as he can. Ian's coming around the outside and they're steaming for the line. Is it Nick? Is it Nick? Oh, Ian will lose together. Emerson sitting high up on the fence, looking for the advantage that he can achieve off the bank when the inevitable sprint comes. Neil watching him very closely. A little bit of a fake from Emerson, just to keep everybody on their toes. Neil and Emerson are watching each other. At any moment a jump could happen and it can be on. There's no trap standing allowed in this particular event, so it must always be walking pace. However, walking pace can be quite slow. Two of them are still well and truly hip on hip as we come round to the fourth corner, waiting to see who will jump first. And it looks like it's Emerson in the last lap. Neil's following very closely. Emerson's really shown some power there. However, they've slowed again and we might get a second bite at this sprint. Emerson's away again and Neil's chasing really hard, seeing if he can come round him. But Emerson looks like he's just a little bit too slow, too fast, and Emerson's... So they cross the line together. Marcel's sitting high, Chris Ray down low. And it's a little bit of a surge, but they've come back together. Chris is back up high and they've changed positions. Chris Ray now sitting high up on the track with Marcel below, and another almost...
He's just want the elevator to take it.
Okay, coming into the last lap. And Marcel has jumped, but backed it off again. And they've jumped. Has Chris got the legs? Chris is coming around the outside. And we're coming into the final straight, and Marcel is going to hold out.